Welcome into the Cowboys Report. Tom Downey at home edition because it's an off day on Friday. But I did want to discuss Christian Wilkins because there's a lot to unpack here. And I think the most surprising move so far that's happened at training camp across the entire NFL. The Raiders releasing him. They're going after the guaranteed money. It's extremely unusual and very much worth having a conversation since he's a free agent. The Cowboys need help. There's a lot to unpack, though, specifically with Christian Wilkins. So I wanted to spend some time on it here today. As a reminder, make sure you guys are subscribed. Normally there's graphics. I'll mix in a couple of graphics on Wilkins and the Cowboys defensive line throughout today's show, but I've got the kiddo at home today, so hit that sub button. We appreciate it. You get free Cowboys videos when you subscribe as well. So to recap what's gone on with Christian Wilkins, this is coming through yesterday evening, essentially. The Raiders released Christian Wilkins, and they're voiding, or at least attempting to void, the remaining guaranteed money on his contract, which amounts to $35.2 million. NFLPA filed their grievance against the Raiders to try to secure the guaranteed money for Christian Wilkins. So now billable hours going to pick up another big-time dub as those two sides will go back and forth. We'll see how it plays out. Essentially what happened here is Wilkins had surgery back in October of last year to repair the old Jones fracture in his foot. That's normally 3 to 4 months, give or take, somewhere in that timeline. He should be fine. He wasn't going to return last season, but he should have been good to go for the offseason program. He should have been at OTAs. He should have been at minicamp. He should have been at training camp. He hasn't been. In fact, he still can't practice. And the Raiders wanted him to get a second surgery. They've suggested it. The implication from Vegas has been that the other supporting people, other experts have said you need the surgery too. Wilkins didn't want to get the surgery, and here we are. The Raiders washing their hands of the matter, moving on from, at one point, the highest paid defensive tackle in football. Got the massive contract years ago to leave the Dolphins, go to Vegas. Uncertain when he's going to even be able to play at this point. There's been some reporting that, maybe for the playoff stretch, which, okay, that's kind of defeating the purpose for a lot of teams out there. So on one hand, you have this player who, as we'll get into, is such a perfect fit for what the Dallas Cowboys actually need at defensive tackle. Like, he would be awesome. He would fix, or at least if healthy, fix so many problems they have at defensive tackle that I am very much concerned about. On the other hand, the best ability is availability. And if you're not available, well, then it doesn't benefit you at all. So we'll go into depth on the pros, the cons here. But would you sign Christian Wilkins? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's show. So take advantage. Y for yes, N for no. We'll bring up the graphic here of Christian Wilkins' stats before being limited to 5 games last year with the Raiders. So his last 4 years with the Miami Dolphins, I should say. He's good. If you want a 300-plus pound defensive tackle who is a very good run stopper, I think is probably the best thing that he does, and can be a contributable piece as a pass rusher, Christian Wilkins is that guy. You can go back and watch some of our videos when he was a free agent. It's I'd love to get him, but there's no way the Cowboys are going to pay what it costs, and they obviously never even considered it there. He is a good football player. The impact he would bring, if healthy, it's a big if, we'll get to it here, which is a huge problem. If you could get Christian Wilkins healthy on this team, impactful, he might be better than Odigizua. And if you're going to do this we want Mozzie Smith to be 300 pounds, which I think is kind of silly and nonsense, Christian Wilkins can play one technique for you. I think he's best as a bigger 3 technique, but if the Cowboys are going to embrace this a lighter front at defensive tackle, which I have issues with, Wilkins fits perfectly. The idea of Christian Wilkins, the fit of him, the player, is flawless. If you promised me, hey, you get a healthy Christian Wilkins this year, I'm all over this. That promise is one you cannot make, and that's a huge issue at this time. But what Wilkins could bring to the Cowboys roster is perfect. He is exactly what the Cowboys could use along the defensive line. He's exactly what a lot of teams could use on the defensive line. So my approach, at minimum for the Cowboys, why not bring him in for a physical? Why not bring him in and say, hey, we've got interest. How about you come in and we'll take a look at the foot and see where it is? That might disqualify him in the end. Like, they might not get past that stage. They did that as a favor, I think, to an extent, with Eric Berry and his camp years ago. Remember that one? Remember when they brought Eric Berry in for a visit? He never played again. I don't think Wilkins is at the never play again stage. But if you're going to approach, talent acquisitions, a 365-day-a-year business, and one of your biggest holes is on the defensive line, Wilkins is now available. You should at least do the old due diligence, and like actual due diligence, not like, claim you did and not actually do it at all. I am of the belief the Cowboys need another defensive tackle. So do you agree? 1 for yes, 0 for no. We'll bring up the depth chart here now, too. And this is why. Like, you have Osa Odigizua. Cool, I like him. That's one starter. We're doing the whole Mozzie Smith weight thing again, which I just think is really stupid, and I don't understand it. And I feel like, Mozzie gets blamed, obviously, too, for the lack of impact the past 2 years. I preach a lot, like, the fits, the destinations, the situations matter so much. I kind of feel like the Cowboys have set up Mozzie to fail, at least a little bit. I don't think they've handled this very well. Solomon Thomas is a backup 3 technique. Like, that's who he is. If you're going to put him out there at nose guard when he's like maybe 280, I just question the plan, frankly. Jay Tully is a big boy, but he's a 7th-round pick. Perion Winfrey was a UFL player. Like, we should probably temper expectations. So, yeah, I would like to go get a defensive tackle. The problem you run into here, as we've kind of mentioned, but I'll go more in depth on it, when's he going to be healthy? My boy Slick Rick said the Giants have been told by Christian's camp that he's not going to be healthy for the start of the season. Could be available if they're in the playoff hunt and he wants to play for a contender. I buy all of that. Okay, when is the playoff hunt? Is the playoff hunt in November? Is the playoff hunt in December? Does he want to wait until he's fully healthy to maybe cash in higher of the prorated figure? Do NFL teams want to pay him money when he's not going to be healthy? And like, I do want to emphasize, it is so rare to have a team go after the guarantees over injury stuff. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, it, as mad as the Cowboys are at Trayvon Diggs and they're taking shots at him, they didn't do this stuff. Like, it happens once every couple of years, if that. Normally they go after it over criminal stuff. Like, that, this is probably not going to be resolved this calendar year. It's going to take a while, would be my guess. Like, for a team that, like, the Cowboys, like, made a big deal, Diggs wasn't training the way we wanted him to, rehabbing the way we wanted it to, wasn't in the building. Well, Wilkins, if we believe, like, kind of the Raiders angle, did he rehab at all? Like, it's a massive red flag. Diana Rossini tweeting out, next step for Wilkins is going to be visits, physicals with potential suitors. One head coach told Diana, he's not healthy enough to play for the Raiders. Something must not be right. Something isn't right. Like, that foot is a huge red flag. The Raiders paid Christian Wilkins a ton of money. They still paid him for this year, essentially, with the way that they structured his deal. They were just done with him. The Raiders' defensive tackle room is bad. Like, right now, it's Adam Butler and Leggy Fotu has been like a borderline journeyman defensive tackle already. Both those guys, like, Butler's actually solid, but, like, he's not a household name. Like, it's a bad room. Like, they needed Christian Wilkins, so they paid for him in the first place. And it got so bad, they're like, nope, we are done. Which makes this whole thing very complicated. If you, on one hand, the talent of Christian Wilkins says, absolutely, let's go get him. He helps us so much. He's so good. On the other hand, the status of the foot, the injury rehab, how hard did he work? Did he handle things properly? Those are huge red flags that could very well be disqualifying red flags. That we don't want to deal with that type of stuff. If Shotty's going to make a big deal about the right kind of guy, there's now questions if Wilkins fits that, fair or not. So I would take the approach of, let's explore. Like, there's no downside outside of man hours from the front office of exploring, okay, where are things with Christian Wilkins? Can we bring him in for a physical? And if you bring him in for the physical and it says, no, the foot's in a bad spot, this is not something that we want to get involved with, we're going to pass on him. Okay, but then you tried. I'm asking for effort here from the Cowboys organization in the end.